One, two, three. This is Dr. Alex Avila, and it's Love University, and we're back. I'm an author, speaker, and psychologist. And every week we talk about how to love yourself, others, and higher nature, how to improve your life in many different ways, in your relationships, your health, your finances, your career. And I'm very excited today about today's topic because we're entering a new year now. And today's topic is the power of resolutions, how to achieve your dreams. Now, many people start resolutions at the beginning of the year, often about exercise and diet and financial things, and even career, and also love, finding your right love partner. But usually only 11% of people keep their resolutions in a permanent way, although it is good to make resolutions because it gives you the discipline and the habit to reach your goals and dreams and pursue them. Now, we know from research that success is part intelligence and part discipline. Now, intelligence is partially based on genetics, and although we know with some research that we can improve that, we do know that discipline, doing the right things, is something we can change and improve no matter how old you are. You can develop disciplined habits of success. Discipline is defined as doing what you want to do and not doing what you don't want to do. So in other words, persevering at the task that's going to bring you your goal. Now, we know that long-term success often is indicated for people that have self-discipline. They've done studies with small children, 4-year-olds, and they asked them, would you like the sweets now, the treat, or can you wait 15 minutes? Now, only 1/3 of the children were able to wait for the 15 minutes to get the extra treat. But those that did, years later, they followed them and they found that they did better in school, that had higher SAT and IQ scores, and they also had fewer problems with substance abuse and weight issues. So there was a long-term effect to being self-disciplined at a very early age. Now, for people that can delay gratification, people that want things impulsively, that can be very dangerous for them because they're sensitive to the environment. They're easily fall into temptations. I want to eat that chocolate cake. I'm going to go with that attractive but incompatible or even harmful individual for a relationship. It's hard for them to hold back on some desires that may not be healthy for them. Now, the benefits of discipline, self-discipline, also known as conscientiousness, which is defined as being dependable, hardworking, thorough, perseverant, is that many times people that have the self-discipline have higher incomes, job satisfaction, better marriages, happier marriages. They live longer lives. They take better care of themselves. They attune to the details, getting their health checked, exercising, dieting, developing good relationships, being loyal. So all these things contribute to a long-term better life and happier life when they can be disciplined about it. Another key to self-discipline is actually something that's counterintuitive. It is called empathy, being able to put yourself in the shoes of others. They did studies with Navy SEALs who are highly trained and go through a very difficult training process called Hell Week, where they have to do extremely vigorous exercise with little sleep. 75% of them fail, but the ones that do pass the exams are more empathetic. They often think beyond the pain and their own fear to think of the other person. How can I help the guy next to me? How can I help him get through? And that's what helps them be more self-disciplined to also succeed. So the essentials of discipline or willpower are very important to know. First of all, some research shows that we have an energy tank of willpower. So we have a certain amount that may wear out at a period of time. So when we make decisions that are tough, it's hard for us to make more decisions. And we often aren't focused on what we want to accomplish. So we make poor decisions and we don't compromise because compromise takes effort. Once we're exhausted in our decision-making ability, we need to recharge it. Here are some ways to recharge your energy tank for willpower. Number one, think about someone who has good self-control. Maybe it's your parents, it could be a coach, it could be a teacher, a mentor, a pastor, or maybe someone that you know in the news, or someone that you follow from history, someone who's very self-disciplined, who is able to accomplish a lot of goals. Think of that person. Think of yourself as being kind of like that person. Ask yourself, what would they do in a difficult situation? Also, take responsibility for yourself and your actions. Research shows that people who think of themselves as a boss often have more energy to make decisions and to use their willpower, even though things are tough, because they're more responsible for other people and they have to get into their tank to get more of that energy to make the right decision. Another idea is to believe that you have lots of willpower. The belief itself can help you have more energy when you're getting tired and you need to make the right decision. Also very important is to rest. Some people try to push past their tiredness to make a deadline, but many times their work suffers. They don't do as well. So if you are tired and you're kind of like burnt out in some way, rest, sleep, and re-energize yourself and then come back. And that's the best way to recharge your energy tank for self-discipline. And if you don't do that, however, you can exhaust your immune system for health issues, and you can maybe have some health problems because you've taxed your system so much as a result of trying to push beyond your barriers. Now, the good news is, though, that when you increase willpower in one area, you can increase it in another. For example, in studies where people are able to stick to a diet, they're also able to lower their impulsive spending. So they spend less on trivial items, they save more, they invest more. So actually one can affect the other. So discipline can have carryover effects. Let's say that you want to accomplish your resolutions this year, and you say to yourself, well, I failed in the past. I failed my diets. I failed trying to find love. I failed in finances. I don't really have the ability to keep to my goals and dreams. So we need to develop your self-discipline, and there are ways to do that. There's research-proven approaches. First of all is remove temptations. For example, you're on a diet, so give away that potato chips that you bought impulsively recently to someone that can eat it, or throw it away even, because you want to remove that from your temptation list. Or if you're kind of addicted to social media, you can turn off your social media notifications. Also create a backup plan. Let's say you are on a diet, you go into a party, and you say to yourself, well, when I get there, I'm not going to indulge in junk food. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to talk to people and socialize. And I'm going to do that instead of indulging in the extra food. Another great tip for self-discipline is to develop what are called micro habits, to develop little habits that are positive that build on each other. For example, let's say your goal is to floss your teeth. And that's maybe something that's cumbersome. So you say to yourself, I'm going to floss only one tooth. And that's all I'm going to do. And chances are you're going to do more flossing because you get into the habit of doing it. Or let's say you're going to work out 15, 20 minutes a day, and you start to develop more of a desire to work out more. Or you go to bed a little bit earlier, 15 minutes earlier, just to have a little more rest. Now, one man did something very innovative. He didn't like to work out. He didn't like the effort and everything that went with it, but he wanted to lose weight and get in shape. So he said, I'm going to go to the gym and swipe my card to get in. And then I can say to myself, I can go home. I don't have to work out. I just have to go swipe my card. So just by that one little act, 90% of the time he said, well, I'm already here, so I'm going to go ahead and work out. So he kind of almost tricked his mind into wanting to do more. And many times when you do a micro habit, you do have that encouragement to do a little extra and build upon each habit so that they become stronger and you become more motivated and more perseverant. Another tip is to, instead of being a person that wants to wait for inspiration to move you, you decide to move the inspiration. In other words, you develop discipline habits, work habits that enable you to be more creative and to have inspiration come to you. For example, some people have what are called writer's blocks. They're writers, but they say, well, I gotta wait till the inspiration comes to me, but it may never come. So what you need to do is say, I'm gonna write for 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day, no matter what it is, even if it's junk, I'm just gonna write it. And you get into the flow, and pretty soon you start to write some good things. Same thing with any kind of habit you wanna break or get into, is to decide you're gonna put X amount of time into doing this activity or project. And no matter what happens, I'm gonna keep doing it. Eventually you're gonna have more energy, more motivation to do more and more and do better and better work. Also reward yourself. So let's say you have accomplished something. You've done well in school, at work, a creative project, and you can give yourself a massage or go play your favorite sport, listen to music, read, spend time with animals or children. Do something that you really love to do as a reward for the hard work that you've done in developing a new habit or creating something or accomplishing something. At the same time, find something you love to do as your career or as your main occupation or even hobby that gives you inspiration. Now, we talked before about Dr. Mihaly, who did research on the concept of flow. Flow is that mindset in which you lose track of time, when you lose track of yourself, you lose your self-consciousness, and you're immersed in an activity, whether it's running, what we call the runner's high, or listening to music, creating something, being in nature, spiritual practice, and you just have a joyful, blissful feeling. So whatever it is that gives you that feeling where you just lose track of yourself and you're not self-conscious and you're one with that activity, is something you can definitely do more of because it builds your discipline, it builds your motivation. It's not work, it's actually fun. And many times when something is fun, we do great things out of it and it becomes something that really accomplishes great things. Also, here's an interesting idea. Instead of using your mind and logic to develop willpower, use your emotions. Sometimes people say, well, I'm not going to eat that extra dessert. I'm not going to go with that person who's attractive but incompatible for me. I'm going to quit these bad habits I have, whether it's smoking or even drug addiction. But then a part of their mind says, yeah, but look at the pleasure you get from this activity. And you get a back and forth battle. So instead of trying to do it logically, use your emotions, your good emotions to battle your bad emotions, whether they are laziness or fear or weakness. One of the positive emotions is gratitude. Gratitude is going to help you develop more self-discipline. In fact, some research shows that people with more gratitude are 100% more likely to have financial self-control. They're not going to indulge in overspending or impulse purchases. The problem is if you don't have gratitude, you're probably going to feel a lack, a sense of deprivation, that you're not getting enough of the goodies of life. And it becomes difficult for you to focus on your goals and your dreams and be disciplined because you don't think you can succeed. You feel that you failed in life and you continue to fail. So gratitude, being grateful for everything that you have in life, is able to make you feel that your future goals are more attractive and you can accomplish them. Another thing that's very important, another feeling that's very important in developing self-discipline is compassion. As we mentioned earlier, those Navy SEALs that had compassion and empathy for their fellow SEALs were able to complete the tasks and succeed and have more self-discipline because they cared about other people, and that spurred them on. Also very important, and this is crucial, is called self-compassion. I wrote a book called The 3 Secrets of Happiness, in which one of the secrets is forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. So when you make a mistake, allow yourself to go back and say, well, I took a step back, but I'm going to take 2 steps forward. I'm still moving forward. I'm still making progress. Because if you don't do that, you're going to fall into what I call a reservoir of weakness. You're going to chastise yourself. Oh, you stupid fool. You blew your diet. You went back to the wrong person that's unhealthy for you. You stayed in a bad career or job that you didn't want. And as a result, you're going to continue the bad habit or smoking or substance abuse or whatever it is because you feel weak. And because of your weakness, you continue going back. So by forgiving yourself, you change the whole dynamic. You realize the mistake you may have made, you went back, but you're going to move forward. You're going to keep improving your life. They did a study with students, and they found that those students that were encouraged to develop self-compassion were able to work 30% harder, and they were less likely to procrastinate, to put things off for later, because they had the stronger self-discipline and motivation. Now, here's an exercise I really like to develop your self-compassion, is to write a letter to your future self in 10, 20, 30 years or more, in which you tell yourself in the future what you're doing now to help it and to protect it. For example, you're exercising, you're on a good diet, so you're more likely to lessen the chance of getting a serious heart attack or disease at a young age. Or maybe you're developing a spiritual practice, or you're developing your self-esteem so you can be happier in the future. Or you're working on your career, or your education, or picking the right person in a love relationship so you can have a wonderful marriage or long-term relationship for that future self. This is an amazing exercise because what it does is that it shows you how to be accountable for your future self. Instead of just saying, I'm going to eat, drink, and be merry, or get into superficial relationships, or stay in a job I hate, I realize that I'm accountable to my future self, who I'm going to be 20, 30, 40 years from today. And I want that person to be happy and successful because I have compassion for that person. And that person actually is you, but you in the future. Now, another one that's actually very interesting, it's kind of like a little bit counterintuitive also for self-discipline, is to have authentic pride in your accomplishments. Now, when people think of pride, they think of someone who's maybe arrogant and entitled and think they're the best. But the kind of pride we're talking about is a pride in your accomplishments. Maybe you're the first to go to college in your family. Your child to go to college makes you feel very proud. The way you've lived your life with compassion and love. And at the same time, you are humble. That's the authentic part because you realize the hard work it took to get there and how other people helped you as well. So it's very important to keep that in mind. Authentic pride can be very powerful because people who have that often attract other people. People like them better. And also, they have more self-control. In one study, they put chocolate cakes in front of people, and those that had authentic pride, 40% of them didn't even take one bite. They had self-control. And another group, those that were shamed, they were told, well, if you eat this, you're going to be bad, you're going to be weak because you couldn't keep your diet. Only 11% of those people in the shame condition were able to exert self-discipline and not eat the cake. So it seems like shame doesn't work nearly as well as having authentic pride. Again, keep a pride journal. You can write down things you're happy about for yourself that you've accomplished in your life, your relationships, your career, and also maybe what you've given to others and helped other people. And again, remember, humbleness is part of pride in this context. Remember the hard work that you put into it, and how other people helped you. You didn't do it by yourself. So you have a sense of groundedness. Something else you can do to develop more willpower is to have willpower friends. Who are your friends? Are there people who are self-disciplined, who are successful, who get up early in the morning to work out, to accomplish tasks? That's the kind of friends that can really inspire you and motivate you and give you guidance. Because one of the biggest willpower killers is loneliness. Because when you feel alone, when you are disconnected from yourself, others, and a higher nature, you don't have the willpower to accomplish your dreams. And we mentioned before at Love University, our goal is to eradicate loneliness by the year 2025, to bring people together worldwide in a community, both online and offline, to help them eliminate loneliness. Because loneliness is not just not being around other people. You can have people around you, but you feel disconnected from them. You feel disconnected from yourself or from a higher nature. And when you have the connection with other people, you have what we call a positive emotional feedback. So you help other people, you're compassionate to others. and you feel grateful that you could help them. And then also they might help you back. Maybe you have a business opportunity or a job situation that you don't really need because you have your own. You can share it with your friends. Or maybe they're lonely and you can introduce them to someone that can be a love partner or a romantic partner or even a friend. And by doing that, you have increased the goodwill and positive energy around you. Chances are it's going to come back to you as well. That's the idea of spreading the positive emotional energy out there. And that develops your willpower because you know that you can make an impact on people, a positive impact on your environment. And that's going to come back to you in a good way. Another interesting tip is to change a bad habit or create a good habit on vacation. Many times we have what are called cues or things that trigger in us a certain level of stress or anxiety in which we may get involved in a bad habit. For example, smoking. If you live in a congested city with bad traffic, that might make you very stressed out and you might go ahead and get a cigarette break. But when you're traveling, you're in a whole new environment. Maybe there isn't much traffic. You're in a beautiful, relaxed beach scene or island or other place. And you can start to say, I'm going to change my habit. I'm going to stop smoking right now because you don't have the same cues. It's going to be easier for you to do that. Or maybe you want to start a positive habit. Maybe you want to be a writer or an artist. And you take the time now in a quieter setting to start every day, an hour or two a day, doing your art or habit. And finally, learn how to prioritize your tasks because many times we waste our energy on things that are not really important to us, whether it's social media or too much TV watching or gossiping or things like that. So we need to divide our task into 4 different what are called quadrants or spaces. The first quadrant or space is what we call urgent and important tasks. So this is like a medical emergency. You might be having a heart attack. Obviously, that's very important and urgent. But what we can do is that you can prevent that in some ways from happening by better diet, exercise, reducing stress. So you don't have that likelihood of happening, especially at an earlier age. Other things are what we call not urgent but important. This is quadrant 2. And here's where we should spend a lot of our time. Because the important things in life that are not urgent, but they're important. For example, writing a love letter to your partner, being more romantic with them, your romantic partner, teaching your children, learning yourself, getting education, going to additional course training, or working on your spiritual practice. These are things that are very important, but they're not necessarily urgent, but they can move you forward in life and help you grow and help you develop your self-discipline. Another one is what we call not important, but urgent. And here's where a lot of people waste a lot of time. Things like phone calls that are coming in or emails that may not be that important, but you want to answer them quickly. It kind of seems like it's urgent. Let's say you're in a meeting that took you a long time to get to, an important meeting, but your phone rings. Now, a lot of people will be tempted to answer their phone, but likelihood is not that important. So learning how to distinguish between urgent but not important and focus more on the importance is a good thing. And finally, there's what we call the not important. These are things like excessive watching the television, social media, things like that distract you. So you can cut a lot of these things out and have a lot more time and energy for your goals that you want to accomplish, that you can have self-discipline toward. Now, the one exception is if you use this kind of entertainment as a stress reliever. Maybe you take a break from work and you watch your favorite show, or maybe you surf the internet a little bit or do social media. And that can be okay. That can be part of quadrant 2, which is relieving your stress. But overall, most of these things are time wasters, and we can definitely eliminate and reduce them and have more energy. Remember, we said willpower can diminish. It can be depleted if we use too much of it on the wrong things. So I encourage you this year, that we're in this new year now, is to fulfill your resolutions and develop more self-discipline. Find out what you really want to accomplish. Focus on those things, whether it's in your relationships, your health, your career, your finances. And of course, one of the greatest resolutions you can have is to increase love in your life, whether it's loving yourself, others, or higher nature, because all the things that we do are often involve love. Love of ourselves in terms of our self-esteem, other people, relationships. It could be career, business, or romantic or personal. And also a higher nature, the purpose of life, the meaning of life. So I encourage everyone here to write down your resolutions, and I would love to see them. If you want to email me, you can email me at lovetype4u, that's LOVETYPE, the number 4, letter U at AOL.com. You can also call us at 310-226-8090. Visit our website at loveuniversity.love. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And I think I mentioned last week that we're going to have a great event called the Dating Masquerade on Valentine's, which is February 14th, 7 p.m., here at a place called Decades in Anaheim. And we're going to have a social mixer where people will wear masks based on their personality type, and then you get to make new friends and possibly find a romantic partner based on their compatibility. So it's going to be a great event. We urge you to reserve your tickets early in advance, Instagram, Facebook, and also Eventbrite. You can go to Dating Masquerade, Anaheim, California. So again, we'll see you next time. Dr. Alex Avila, and keep your resolutions this year. Work on them hard, and we'll see you soon.